can then be characterized. We can take sexual scenes, we can take authority scenes, and we have everything we need to start a comic scene. Now look here, let's leave that for a moment. Look here. How does the tragic figure compare? He doesn't appear comic. He has to be serious. No laughs are permitted in a tragedy. Now look here. We too play a critical role in a tragedy. Because we know he doesn't know something very important about himself. The whole drama of a tragedy is that in the beginning he never questions either. He never questions, assumes absolutely that he's right, acts knowingly, tries to deal intelligently with the situation. That's his mark. Attempts, right? Attempts to deal with the chaos around. Has a very keen mind, but doesn't realize that the chaos is a direct result of his own ignorance of himself. Right? It's based upon his own ignorance of himself. How do they differ? It's in the mark of a tragedy that he finally has to face the ignorance that he has of himself. He has to challenge his beliefs that he knows. Circumstances have to be brought up to challenge the belief that he knows, until finally he has to recognize that he is in fact ignorant. Now, what kind of ignorance is it? Let's skip it and go back to it. Look here, the philosopher. We'll call the philosopher the Socratic figure for a moment. Right? The Socratic figure. He always questions whatever it is he discovers that he believes. Here, always questions what he believes. The chaos around him is not based upon his own ignorance. There's just a chaos around him, and he's only interested in gaining an insight in the chaos within himself. The tragedian finally has to question what he believes, just like the philosopher. He then has to see that the chaos around him really comes out of himself. Therefore, he's very similar to a philosopher. The difference, however, is that the ignorance that the tragedian has is an ignorance of facts that he should have known but didn't. They're always facts. Oedipus, he didn't realize that the woman he married that was twice his age, it never occurred to him that physiologically, in terms of age, she could have been his mother. He never once does that. He never once questions it until finally the tragedy unfolds and he's forced to look at it. But in any case, it's a fact. That's what he doesn't know, a fact. Agamemnon, when he returns home, he never once dealt with the fact that his wife ought to be upset because he sacrificed his own daughter in order to get the fleet and the maritime expedition to engage Troy, because that sacrifice, he thought, then would end the plague from Apollo. He just forgot that small little fact. He didn't deal with it. He didn't prepare for it. They're facts. They're historical material. Now look here. When the philosopher plays this game, he realizes his ignorance of himself, but it's not based upon facts. It's a very fundamental kind of ignorance. And the only way in which he can remedy that is to discover that the beliefs he has, the beliefs that he possesses, are the very things that obscure his vision of himself. And the chaos in himself is nothing other than the competing effects of different beliefs in his own soul. Now, let's try something. Let's see if we can put a few more things in here. If the comic figure reduces love to sexuality, then by necessity, beauty cannot play a role in the story. Satisfaction will. Sexual release will. Beauty will not. Equally well, happiness, a very important element, must be missing because of the same reason. The only happiness that the comic figure is going to pursue is that he's going to look upon it as pleasure. And all of the conflicts involving pleasure. So he's going to ignore beauty, and simply reduce it to sexual attraction. Fleeting, coming and going. Now, the tragedian is going to be serious. He's going to view these things, but he too is not going to play too much concern with this idea of beauty and happiness. Now look here, why is that? Because he only has one quest: to solve the chaos around him. And if something is beautiful, whether it's a Helen, whether it's a Penelope, doesn't matter. He is directly responsible, he feels, for chaos. He wants to find out why it exists, and he's going to do something about it. That's his major goal. Chaos is ugly. Chaos is ugly, is discordant, is disordered. It's the opposite. That's what the tragedian is focusing on, the opposite of beauty. As for happiness, his happiness will come only when he's successful. Therefore, the tragedian doesn't pursue happiness, he pursues success. The beauty that he doesn't pursue beauty. He wants to reduce chaos to order. And there is his love. Order and success. As for the comedian and the comic figure, sexual attraction.